got David on the phone.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, David. Sorry to keep you waiting because I know how much you love these jump cards at not necessarily Fontwell, but anywhere. And we're first of all talking about the 305. Maybe Catherine could lead this and ask your opinions on one or two.
Yeah, David, one of my picks of the day runs in this, Peckham Echo.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay.
No, so I love that hesitation.
You're the maestro, and I'm not too sure whether to be elated or not by your response to that.
No, I think he's one of two that I do quite like for the race, actually. I think Peckham Echo, he's a quality animal, that was no doubt. And they tried chasing with him last season, but it became rather aborted. They rather aborted that. I don't really think he took to fences at all. I mean, he normally applies his trade in the very best handicap hurdles. His Aintree run in April showed that he's still sort of capable of this sort of a mark. I thought he ran really well in that 2 mile 4 handicap that day, given a very sort of patient ride from Nick Schofield and crept into it. He's got nothing really of that sort of a calibre in this race. I mean, the ones at the bottom, I couldn't fancy any of them at all, really. And I think he's gone well fresh in the past. Patrick Corbett taking a useful 7 off. I think he's got to have a really good chance in this.
Tom, what's your opinion?
I was going to ask Dave about Peckham Echo. He took an X-rated fall at Bangor in April. That was a very, very nasty fall. Do you think that could affect him?
It's a good question, isn't it? I think that was the point that they realised he was never going to make a chaser, to be honest. I mean, we're not going to know until we see him, are we? See him on a race course today. It was a bad fall, and he was certainly out on his feet when he took that fall.
Shadow's length had got the better of him that day as well.
He would have done, no doubt. But he's been given time. He's been given a few months off. I'd be willing to give him the benefit of the doubt today. I think he's a quality animal, and as I say, it's one of two horses in the race that I do quite like.
And the one I like, and I hope this is the other one that you like, is Princey Player.
You're a lucky boy, Peter, it is.
It is, right, good. I'm sorry about the feedback there.
Yeah, he's the most unexposed horse in this field, isn't he? He's probably the one horse that you can sort of look at and say he's probably still in front of his mark and that they haven't got to the bottom of yet. I think this step back up to 2-4 is going to be most definitely in his favour. I saw him when he beat King Edmund at Exeter a couple of seasons ago. I thought that day is definitely one to follow. The Hobbs, they've been a little bit quiet, but they're starting to get back to sort of running to their marks again now, the Philip Hobbs yard. I think they're just about to sort of swing into their autumn campaign. I know they had a couple of winners at Chepstow at the Chepstow meeting last year with Lamar Cod and the like, so they're just starting to come into that sort of time of the season when he might have a winner or two. So he's the other one that I like for the race. I think those are the two I would take against the field. I mean, there's plenty in here I don't particularly like.
Okay, I mean, obviously Tom's made lots of notes. I don't want him to go by without any faults in this race.
We'll go back to Peckham Echo. I think he races a little bit keenly, and that would concern me, especially back over hurdles. Even though he's rated 144, his chase mark's only 132. We've got to remember a lot of horses are actual chasers, and they're coming back over hurdles today. So they could be pipe openers. I'd like to obviously people that like going to the paddock and picking them out, seeing what they look like. I know you like doing that, Dave, as well, don't you? You like to see what they look like.
I tell you what, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Tom, when you said a lot of these have got these are pipe openers for go back fencing.
Yeah.
I looked at how he hasn't got a Scooby-Doo, and this is clearly a pipe opener. Not saying he can't win, but this is clearly a pipe opener for the Open, isn't it? They're going to have another go at that 2 mile handicap chase with him. So
I can see having got a Scooby-Doo being held up the back today and just sort of creep around the back. I just think, as you said, it would just be sort of to get him fit ready. So I agree with you on Princey Player, but I'd be worried about the good to soft going. I think he wants genuine good ground. Last night he was my selection. The ground hasn't really dried up. I'd be slightly worried about that. He obviously come off the same mark. He was it 5th at Newbury behind Megassini. I like that form.
Meganisi would it? Yeah, that's right.
He started off actually in his novices and he didn't jump very well, but he's actually become, as he's gone through his career, his jumping's got a little bit more fluent. I want to keep an eye on that one. I'm not sure he'll win today, even though I've put him as my selection later on. I'm slightly worried about the ground.
Okay, David, can we have a selection for the 305?
I'll stick with the quality, Peckham Echo for me.
Okay.
I'm sort of going to change my mind here. You'll see it on the tabs later on my tips. I've gone Princely Player, but I'm worried about the ground.
It's right, because I've just done it.
You said that yesterday, though.
Yeah,
what happened.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to mention Act of Calasini because I can't ignore the yard form at the moment. Newland's in great form.
Okay, Catherine?
Peckham Echo.
Well, I'm going for the one that you've changed your mind on. They say never change your mind.
Yeah.
So Princely Player for me. Let's move on to the...
Princely Player, just to highlight quickly,
I'm sorry,
guys.
Sam. I forgot you were there.
On the ground, fifth, 2-3 in soft ground, and the winner was at Fisher's Cross.
There you go.
There you
And
go.
that is,
So
in the
it will
context of
It was
this,
been a long way.
it will win. And
I'm confident.
Thank you. I knew it all
There we
along
go.
that Sam would agree with me. That's why I'm really sorry, Sam, I didn't come to you. David, the 340, this is quite an interesting event because I fancy one of my selections running this race. So I'm going to go to you first because I know you're going to come out of it first of all. Go.
Yeah, I might not here because I looked at this race. I went through this a few times last night and ended up giving myself a headache with it. Sometimes you just look at a race on paper and think the winner's coming from there. And when I first looked at this race last night, I looked at the bottom three and I thought one of these three could just pop up here at a price. But the more I go into it, it's a really difficult race. I know it's all about Dorset Naga in a way because, the horse is completely unexposed. The layoff isn't a worry coming from that yard. I know it's been off 415 days. That's almost a positive coming from Andy Honeyball's yard. He can bring them back. He's brought them back after 2 years to win first time up. So that's not particularly a worry. Giant Emerge, I'm worried that the ground's not going to be quick enough for him. He needs it like the A1.
Yeah.
Giant Emerge, he really does need it.
And it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent as well, David. I mean, I've backed this horse a few times in the summer, and it just didn't perform. And okay, it won well last time, beat Benny's Crest, who's done quite well. But sorry, Sandy.
There's another key thing as well. Aidan Coleman switches. He was on Giant Mirko when he won last time. He now switches to the favourite Dorset Naga.
Indeed.
And that's massive.
All the money's been for
Funny
Dorset
is,
Naga.
we
this
can
time.
speak to Gavin Sheen because he's on the phone in a minute. He's obviously got the ride now on Giant Mirko, so it'll be interesting to see what he says. But I completely agree with Dave. He needs fast ground, and he is tricky to win with. He's a bit of a monkey, so...
Catherine?
Yeah, Dave, can I just ask you about Milgam Bay? Obviously, the Oliver Sherwood horse, he last won on a mark of 110. He's down to 107.
No, I just think he's got a touch of the slows.
It sounds like one or two of us here actually live.
He'll probably go off. There'll be him and try catch me will be the two that probably make the pace. I just think he's usually susceptible to something Milgam Bay. He's just not a horse I've ever particularly fallen in love with as a handicapper, I have to say. I know he does win the odd one, and I know he won at Leicester earlier in the season, but that wasn't a great deal of a race. And usually he's usually susceptible to something. I'm not a great fan of the horse, I've got to say, Catherine.
Sam, you got any views?
Yeah, a tough race to pick anything out of to be 100% Nary Colour to do mast on, but I, a bit like Dave said earlier, was looking at the bottom three in the weights. And I just fancy Lucy's Legend at an each-way price if it's anything into double figures. Just potentially, I like Paddy Brennan. I think he's a great jockey. If I ever owned a horse outright in the UK, he'd be one of my first picks to ride it. I just think maybe at the weights, if the ground turns a little bit softer, who knows? But I couldn't get too enthused about any of them, to be honest.
Well, my nap of the day is actually running this race, and that's Dorset Naga. I think 5 from 22, Anthony Hannibal at the course, statistically is very good. The layoff does it good. Tom.
Sandy,
get that right.
get in there.
You had this down. Have you changed your mind on this one? Because I've done this as well.
I'm staying with this one this time. My notes about Dorset Naga, he was actually off the track because he had a leg injury. I've also written, that was after Fontwell in August 2012. He's always jumped well in these novice chases. One thing I've noted about him, he does jump very well, very quick and efficient. I reckon it's a bit like the horse I mentioned yesterday, Rudy Meister. If he could potentially be rated 125, 130 chaser. So I'm with Dorset Naga. I agree with you, Peter.
Okay. David?
I'm just going to stick a quick word in for Amari de Lusignan, who twice has been well back for this new stable, twice has disappointed. Now they're going reaching for the tongue tie for it as well, and the cheek pieces. It would not be the biggest surprise to me if Amari de Lusignan ran a lot better. He's certainly off a mark that he can do something off. I'm agreeing with Sam. Lucy's Legend, I think, each way for me.
Definitely.
Okay, Catherine?
Like Dave, I mean, this race is a headache, but I'm Dorset Naga.
Okay, we've covered those two, David. Is there anything else? I mean, obviously we know that you've gone through the card. Is there anything else that our viewers should be watching out for?
Well, I'll tell you what, I love the 450, which is wonderful in its awfulness. It's one of these races that none of them can win. I ended up, I think almost by default, I came to Midnight Lira. Just quickly going through, I mean, Morster doesn't get 2.6. He wouldn't get 2.6 in a horse box. He just about gets 2.4 at a push, and he's better at 2.2. Finnegan Paddy just looks gone at the game, and I won't be in a rush to take 5-2. I mean, the point was made to me last night. If he was 7s, 8s, yeah, you might have a go, because first time up might be the time to catch Finnegan Paddy. but he's completely lost his form. Any Confidential's only win came in a 2-runner point and probably needs quicker ground than this. Cora Dancer needs to start now. At least Midnight Lyra will be plugging on. You know, she doesn't mind a bit of cut. She's bred to stay all day, really. Many will remember the damn Ballylyra who stayed about 6 miles in the mud at Chepstow. I mean, she's bred to stay all day, and at least she'll be going less slowly than the rest at the end.
Can we have one finish here? Can we have
Midnight Lyra. I think she'll win. I think Midnight Lyra will keep going. I think she'll win.
So you've picked your sort of best tip in a.
Why not? If you could rule 4 out of the 5 out by default, go for the other one. Please.
Absolutely. There's a bumper at the Fontwell that I know Tom Sandy wants to talk about.
Yeah, the second division. Horse that caught my eye last season back in April, Newton Abbott, King's Theatre Gelding, called Third Act from the Tizard Yard. He was unfortunately clipped hills about just after halfway when he was travelling really strongly, and he nearly Joe Tizard nearly come off the horse. It was that much of a serious stumble. He does have quite a high head carriage though, which slightly concerns me. Some horses obviously just naturally have that. But I think that Tizard likes this horse, and I can see him proving against it. I think it is favourite, though. I think it's about 2 to 1, 15
What price
to 8.
is? I'd like to know the price of Saffron Wells in that lot.
I've got that one down at 4 to 1.
That's the winner. Any views on the 2 bumper? Because there's 2 bumper races there, quite surprisingly, at Fontwell today, David.
Yeah, the bumpers I tend to leave until I'm actually at the course and I can see them in the paddock and then I can see.
Can I ask you, David, when you're in the paddock, I mean, obviously you go racing quite a bit. What do you look for? You know, you said right, I'm going to look in the paddock. What would attract you to having a bet in those kind of races?
Well, particularly in bumpers where half of them are on race, you're looking at not just at the sort of condition of the animal, but you're looking at the behaviours of them from the moment that they're in the pre-parade ring. Are they green? Are they looking around? Are they having a bit of a shout? That sort of thing, you know. And you're looking for horses.
Or a bit gassy, as some
people say. A bit gassy. That's a great phrase. It's a bit. Yeah, we're all a bit gassy, Peter.
Yeah.
We're all a bit gassy. Yeah, that sort of thing. And then of course you're looking for horses' condition, aren't you? You know, you're looking for horses that look fit and well, that are, nice and tight behind the saddle, that sort of thing. So it all sort of comes together, and then from there, then I tend to sort of cross-reference it with the form once I've had a look at them in the paddock first.
Okay, well, David, before you go, we just want. I think you've already given us your one selection in the monkeys race, but is there anything else today away from that?
I see that the money has come pouring in the 2:30 for Mountaineer, and they're still shortening it up. It's around about a 9 to 4 chance now. It was 9 to 1 this morning. It was a horse that I made mention of at Stratford. I was doing a radio broadcast for another channel, as it were, on that day. And I made mention that they were bringing Mountaineer back, and they wouldn't be bringing him back without a reason. He's a big unit. He's made to be a chaser. He's had a little run around now at Stratford just to sort of blow a few cobwebs away. A mark of 105 today he's off, which makes him pretty well treated on some of his juvenile form. If he's got any sort of retention of ability, again in a race where half of these have got to start at 2:15 to have a chance. I think he the money speaks volumes. I think in that 2:30, I think Mountaineer might be the one to be.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, David, on this busy Saturday.
No problem, my pleasure.
Hopefully we'll have you down very soon on the panel, because we had such rave reviews when you was in last week.
Thank you very much indeed.
And I haven't told you about half the things that were said about you, but hopefully we'll speak about them next time. All the best, David.
Thank you.
Bye, Dave.
It's a pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye.